Mistake 1, trying to do everything on your own. There are many situations that we're going to get into in this video that could be resolved if you work with someone who knows what they're doing. If you create your LLC on your own, maybe you fill out one of the fields wrong. Maybe your operating agreement doesn't cover all the potential issues. Maybe something causes you to get audited, or even worse, forces you to close your business. If you feel like you're in over your head, it's better to pay someone to help you along any step of your business journey. For example, I wouldn't create an LLC on my own. I'd rather pay Northwest Registered Agent $39 to get their help filling out all the documents that must be submitted to the state. Then for each step after creating your business, ask yourself, do I feel comfortable doing this on my own, or should I get help with this? It's better to invest a little today instead of having much larger problems later on. I'm not talking about spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars unnecessarily, but looking for help when you feel out of your league is really important. If this is the first business you're starting, we have a training that'll walk you through all the initial steps: creating the business, getting a logo, buying a domain, setting up your business email, website, bank account, and more. It's free and can save you a lot of time so you don't have to do your own research into each of these areas. You can sign up in the description below. Mistake 2, create an LLC too early or too late. There isn't a perfect answer here, but let me explain issues in either direction. When could you open your LLC too early? Let's say you want to start doing graphic design as a side hustle. You don't have any clients and you're just starting to learn about graphic design. Maybe you've got your first clients and then you realize you actually hate doing this kind of work. If you create an LLC in the beginning, you'll have the startup costs of creating the LLC, you'll have the annual report, you have to pay annual fees, and then you'll have to pay something to close the business if you decide you no longer want to pursue this idea. In this case, I'd start learning, practicing, get your first clients, and then from the LLC, once you realize this is something you're going to do continually, and it's worth spending the money to set up the LLC that'll add credibility, liability protection, and allow you to bring on partners later on, and a lot of other benefits. But in this case, it's not necessary in the very beginning to have an LLC. On the other end of the spectrum, starting out too informally, especially if you have business partners. Maybe you want to open a coffee shop with two friends. You start as a sole proprietor, you pay for everything, sign the lease for the first location, invest in the equipment, and then one of your partners isn't funding their share of the startup capital. Maybe someone slips and falls inside the coffee shop and sues you as a sole proprietor, which means they can come after your personal assets, and your business partners have zero liability because their name isn't on anything. Without an LLC and an operating agreement, there's no liability protection in the cases of slip and fall, and there's no agreement between the business partners on how to deal with the ownership, investment, splitting profits, etc. Here you want to ask yourself, am I wasting money creating an LLC when I don't need one yet? Or is this too informal, and if something goes wrong, it could go really wrong? Mistake 3, not having a business bank account. You don't want to commingle funds. That means mixing your personal and business expenses. This can cause you to lose your liability protection that the LLC provides. It could cause you to get audited. It makes doing your taxes at the end of the year harder because it's hard to tell which expenses are business expenses and which ones are personal expenses. Opening a business bank account is really simple. We have a video in the description that walks you through how to open one, and you'll also find a list of our favorite business bank accounts. Mistake 4, no bookkeeping. You want to track the money that comes into your business and the money that goes out. This will help you make business decisions and make doing your taxes much easier. You can use a software like QuickBooks or FreshBooks, or hire someone to do the bookkeeping for you. Mistake 5, not having an operating agreement that describes how decisions will be made for your business. It's good to have an operating agreement, even if you're the only owner of the LLC. You might need one to open a business bank account. In this case, you can probably just use the free operating agreement template that you'll find on this page of Northwest Registered Agent's website, linked below. If you have partners or investors, a manager of the business, or any complicated situation with multiple people involved, you want in writing how the ownership percentage and distributions will be divided, how decisions will be made, what to do if someone wants to exit the business, etc. In this case, you probably can't use a template. I'd spend the money and work with a lawyer to make sure all the possible situations are put on paper. If there's no written agreement, it is much more difficult to resolve the situation in the heat of the moment when you want to fire the manager of the business or any other stressful situation that arises in the future. Mistake 6, a quick one. Double check that the name is available before you try to start your business. Buy a domain, create a logo, etc. When my business partner and I created our marketing business, The Fig Co., we wanted to call it The Fig & Co., but in Delaware there was already Fig Corp., so we had to use a different name. In our case, we were able to just squish the words together and it was okay. But if you spent hundreds or thousands of dollars on a logo, bought a domain, etc., all that money would have gone to waste if you can't use the name. Mistake 7, not getting the proper licenses or permits required for your business. Some states will require every business have a business license to operate a business in the state. If you have a bar, you'll need a liquor license. Each state and type of business is different, but at a minimum, I would do a quick Google search, state business license requirements to see if you need a general business license. And if you think the industry could have specific licenses or permits, search for those as well. If you don't want to do it on your own, you could hire Busy to do business license research for you for $99. Mistake 8, exposing your personal information publicly. This can happen in 2 different ways. First, if you create an LLC on your own and you're your own registered agent, you have to list your address. If you work from home, that means your home address will be listed publicly. I would rather hire a registered agent and have their address be listed, keeping mine private. Again, we use Northwest Registered Agent. If they form your LLC, which costs $39 on top of the state fee, they'll give you their registered agent service for free for the first year, and then you pay $125 for year 2 and beyond. Some states will also ask for your primary business address, which will also be listed publicly. Many times you can list your registered agent's address. If not, you can get a virtual mailbox for around $20 per month, again, keeping your personal information private. Mistake 9, not having contracts or signing a contract as yourself instead of on behalf of your business. Like when I was talking earlier about potential situations between business partners, this can happen with your landlord, employees, contractors, suppliers, etc. It is much better to have things in writing so a supplier that you depend on can't decide to double their prices from one day to the next, or maybe one of your freelancers say you don't have the right to use something that they created for you in the way you'd like to use it. For example, maybe they create a video for you for social media, but they say you don't have the right to use this video as a paid advertisement. It's better to get things in writing. When you're signing something, it shouldn't just be your name on a contract. It should be between your business and the other party, and you're signing as a representative of the business. Again, depending on the situation and the stakes involved, you can find free contract templates online, or for something more important or when it involves a lot of money, it's better to work with a lawyer. Mistake 10, not properly capitalizing the business. Basically what I mean here is that the business doesn't have enough money to continue to operate. Let's go back to the cafe example from earlier on. You'll need to buy equipment, supplies like coffee and food, hire employees, sign a lease, invest in marketing, and more. What if your launch doesn't go as expected? Is there enough money to pay for all the expenses until sales pick up? It's good to assume that things will take longer and cost more than you expect, so you don't run out of money. This can also happen if you get a little greedy as you start to make money and you take too much money out of the business and go spend it. Then, when you have a slow couple of months, maybe you lose your top customer, you don't have the money to pay your bills either in your business bank account or in your personal bank accounts. Like any good personal finance advice would tell you, it's good to leave a buffer in your checking account, and it's great to have an emergency fund in case something goes wrong. A side note, don't forget to set aside money for taxes. This isn't like with the salary at your job, where taxes are paid automatically with each paycheck. You'll receive money from customers, pay bills, then either need to pay taxes quarterly or annually. You'll have to pay federal and state tax, and don't forget about self-employment tax of 15.3%. Mistake 11, annual compliance. After you create your LLC, there are several things you must do to keep your business in good standing, avoid penalties, and keep your business from getting shut down. Most states require you to file an annual report and pay an annual fee. For some states, this is done every other year. Your licenses and permits probably need to be renewed from time to time as well. If you work with a registered agent, they should send you reminders to make sure you're filing the annual report and paying the fee, or you can usually pay your registered agent around $100 per year for annual compliance. This is to take care of the annual report and pay the fee for you. They'll have your card on file, pay the fee, and submit the paperwork so you don't have to worry about if it was submitted or not. For everything we talked about in this video, you'll find additional resources in the description below. If you're just starting your business, in this video, you'll find the dozen or so things that you're going to want for your new business. And I hope to see you in another video. Bye-bye.